Successful people say no often. Really successful people say no almost always. You've been told that success comes from doing more work, more projects, more opportunities. But Buffett didn't become Buffett by doing more. He became Buffett by doing less, far less than everyone around him. And that's the part almost everyone gets wrong. In the early 1960s, opportunities flooded to him from every direction. Hundreds of deals, hundreds of pitches, hundreds of chances to say yes. And almost every single time, he said no. Not because the deals were bad, not because he wasn't ambitious, but because he understood something most people never figure out. Focus builds fortunes. Distraction destroys them. There's a story about a can't-miss investment everyone was chasing. People were calling it the next big gold rush. Buffett looked at it for a moment and simply said, "I'll pass." Everyone else jumped in. A few years later, the whole thing collapsed. Buffett didn't win because he was the smartest person in the room. He won because he refused to be pulled in every direction. Saying no isn't rejection, it's strategy. Most people don't fail for lack of talent. They fail because they divide that talent across too many commitments. Your energy is a currency. Spend it everywhere, and you end up bankrupt. Spend it on the few things that matter, and you become unstoppable. Here's the hard truth. Overcommitment is the tax you pay for wanting approval. You say yes to avoid disappointing others. You say yes because it feels ambitious. You say yes because saying no feels uncomfortable. But every yes costs you something. Your time, your focus, your potential. You don't build an extraordinary life by doing everything. You build it by choosing almost nothing and doing it with absolute clarity. So ask yourself, what are the tasks that make you look busy but take you nowhere? Cut them. Your career doesn't grow when you do more. It grows when you focus better. If you run a business, answer this honestly. If you could only bet on one thing, which product, which market, which advantage would you keep? Choose it. Strengthen it. Let the rest go. And in your life, guard your time like Buffett guards capital. Protect it. Respect it. Refuse to give it away to anything that doesn't compound. You're not overwhelmed because life is hard. You're overwhelmed because you say yes too easily. People who control their time control their destiny. People who don't drift. And drifting is the most expensive lifestyle you can live. Saying no is the first step toward clarity, but clarity isn't enough. Because once you choose your path, you still have to understand the dangers on it. And that's where Buffett's next idea begins. Risk doesn't come from the world. Risk comes from not knowing what you're doing. Risk comes from not knowing what you're doing. People love to fear risk. They fear losing. They fear uncertainty. They fear the unknown. But Buffett sees it differently. Risk isn't the enemy. Ignorance is. In the late 1990s, the dot-com bubble was the loudest party on Wall Street. Every headline screamed about the future. Every analyst predicted impossible returns. Every investor felt like they were missing out. And while the world was rushing in, Buffett stepped back. People asked him why he didn't buy tech stocks. Everyone was getting rich overnight. Why wasn't he joining them? His answer was simple. I don't understand them. That sentence sounded ridiculous at the time. How could the greatest investor alive admit he didn't understand something? How could he walk away when the entire world was celebrating? But he did. And when the bubble burst, when billions vanished and portfolios were wiped out, Buffett stood exactly where he'd been all along. Calm, unshaken, untouched. And suddenly, the world called it discipline. But discipline wasn't the magic. Understanding was. Because here's the truth, Buffett understood long before everyone else. Risk doesn't live inside the investment. Risk lives inside the investor. Fear comes from not understanding what you're doing. Confidence comes from depth, not luck. Most people don't lose money because the world is dangerous. They lose because they never bothered to learn the game. Here's the hard truth. If you don't study, you're not investing, you're gambling. You can put on the suit. You can use the words. You can pretend you know what's going on. But pretending doesn't protect you. Understanding does. So what does this mean for your life? If you're building a career, stop working in fields you refuse to learn deeply. You can't grow when you're guessing. Specialization isn't limiting. It's liberating. It gives you traction. It gives you clarity. It gives you control. If you're running a business, don't expand because everyone else is expanding. Expand only when you understand the economics so clearly that the numbers feel like common sense. Growth without understanding isn't growth. It's a countdown. And in your life, stop hoping things will work out. Hope is not a strategy. Preparation is. Study what you're facing. Learn what you're stepping into. The unknown becomes less frightening the closer you walk toward it. Here's the line most people never admit to themselves. You fear the unknown because you avoid the work that makes it known. People don't fear darkness. They fear what they've never examined. But once you understand risk, once you see it for what it truly is, not a monster, but a mirror, you gain something rare. You finally appreciate the meaning of value. Price is what you pay. Value is what you get. Most people think they're making smart decisions because they found something cheap. A cheap deal, a cheap opportunity, a cheap shortcut. But cheap can be the most expensive mistake of your life. In the late 1980s, Buffett turned his attention to a company everyone already knew, Coca-Cola. Its stock price had climbed for years. Analysts said it was too expensive. Investors said the growth was gone. People couldn't understand why Buffett was even looking at it. But Buffett wasn't looking at the price. He was looking at the value. He studied the brand's global reach. He studied the loyalty. He studied the fact that almost every human being on Earth recognized the product instantly. He saw that Coca-Cola wasn't a soda company. It was a distribution empire with emotional attachment baked directly into culture. So while everyone else complained that the stock wasn't cheap, Buffett bought billions of dollars of it. That decision, seen by many as overpriced, became one of the greatest investments in history. Because here's the truth Buffett understood. Price is temporary. Value is permanent. Most people buy what's cheap, not what's valuable. They chase low cost instead of high quality. They optimize for today instead of 10 years from now. And then, they wonder why their life doesn't compound. The world constantly shows you the price of things, but almost never shows you their value. Here's the hard truth. Most people know the price of everything, and the value of nothing. Price is visible. Value is hidden. Price is emotional. Value is analytical. Price is loud. Value is quiet. And that's why so many people make bad decisions. Not because the options are wrong, but because the lens they're using is shallow. So how does this translate into your life? In your career, stop focusing on the job with the highest starting salary. That number lasts 1 year. The skills you build can last a lifetime. A job that pays less but grows you more can be worth 10 times as much in the long run. In business, stop trying to win by being cheaper. Anyone can lower a price. Almost no one can raise value. Customers don't stay because something costs less. They stay because it matters more. And in your personal life, don't choose relationships based on excitement or convenience. Choose the ones that add depth, stability, and meaning. Choose people whose presence compounds. Cheap emotions fade fast. True value strengthens over time. Here's the truth you already feel in your gut. Cheap decisions create expensive lives. The price you pay today is almost never the real cost. The real cost is the future you sacrifice by choosing the shallow option. And that brings us to something even more important. Because the greatest value you can ever buy isn't a stock, isn't a brand, isn't a company, it's yourself. The best investment you can make is in yourself. Most people spend their lives chasing money, chasing raises, chasing opportunities, chasing the next external thing that will finally make everything better. But Buffett didn't chase money. Buffett chased skills. Because he understood something simple and terrifying. Money can disappear. Skills cannot. When Warren Buffett was young, he was terrified of public speaking. He would shake, he would freeze. He once admitted he was more afraid of speaking in front of people than he was of dying. Most people would simply avoid what they fear. But Buffett didn't. He paid $100 money he barely had at the time to enroll in a public speaking course taught by Dale Carnegie. He wasn't buying a certificate. He was buying a future version of himself. And that course changed everything. It gave him the confidence to talk to investors, to communicate ideas clearly, to negotiate, to lead, to persuade. It unlocked the part of his potential that had been trapped behind fear. Years later, Buffett said that those $100 had the highest return of any investment he ever made. Not because it made him money instantly, but because it made him someone who could create money endlessly. Here's what he understood. Skills have infinite ROI. They compound for life. They cannot be taken from you, stolen from you, or taxed from you. The market can crash. The world can shift. Opportunities can disappear. But who you've become, your competence, your clarity, your ability, that stays. And that brings us to the deeper truth. The highest return investment is the one that makes you more capable. The one that builds a skill instead of a moment. The one that multiplies you, not just your income. Here's the hard truth. Your income is capped by the skills you refuse to learn. You want a better job? Develop better communication. You want career clarity? Learn analysis and decision-making. You want influence? Master how to speak, write, and think clearly. Your career will never outperform your competence. If you're building a business, remember this. Your company can't grow faster than you do. Founders who don't improve become the bottleneck of their own dreams. Upgrade the operator, and the operation upgrades itself. And in your personal life, you must invest in the body and mind that carry you. Sleep is a skill, thinking is a skill, managing your emotions is a skill, extracting clarity from chaos is a skill. Everything you do rests on the foundation of who you are. You don't need a better opportunity, you need a better you. And here's the moment of truth. You aren't underpaid, you're underdeveloped. Growth isn't an accident, it's an investment decision. A decision you must make over and over again until you become the person your future needs you to be. And when you finally understand that, when you invest in yourself first, before anything else, you begin to understand the power of time. Someone sits in the shade today because someone planted a tree a long time ago. Everyone wants the shade, but almost no one wants to plant the tree. You want results today. You want success today. You want progress today. But Buffett doesn't think in days. He doesn't think in weeks. He thinks in decades. That mindset changed everything. When he built Berkshire Hathaway, he didn't chase the hottest stocks. He didn't chase what was trending. He didn't chase what made headlines. He chased companies that would still matter 30 years later. Coca-Cola, American Express. Businesses with roots strong enough to survive storms. Businesses with identities too clear to be copied. Businesses with customer loyalty that compounds like interest. Every investment was a seed, planted quietly, without excitement, without fireworks, without the rush of instant gratification. And for years, nothing dramatic happened. Because that's what seeds do. They disappear into the ground before they rise. But then something incredible occurred. The branches started to spread. The shade began to grow. And the world suddenly looked at Buffett as if he'd performed magic. But it wasn't magic. It was patience multiplied by discipline, and discipline multiplied by time. Here's the deeper truth. Slow success is the only success that lasts. Slow growth is the only growth that compounds. People lose not because they're incapable, but because they demand results faster than reality can deliver them. Short-term thinking is comfortable. It's emotional. It gives you small rewards that feel like progress, while stealing the big rewards that actually matter. Here's the hard truth. Short-term thinking is the biggest invisible tax on your future. It taxes your patience. It taxes your discipline. It taxes your potential. And it keeps you trapped in the cycle of starting and quitting, starting and quitting, starting and quitting. So, what does long-term thinking look like in your life? In your career, it means building skills that will matter in 10 years, not chasing job titles that matter for 10 months. It means choosing depth over speed and mastery over movement. In business, it means building a brand that lasts, trust, loyalty, systems, not throwing discounts at customers hoping they'll stay. Long-term companies don't win by being louder. They win by being consistent. In your personal life, long-term thinking is even simpler. Save a little, invest consistently, build small habits that compound. A better life isn't built by big changes. It's built by tiny, repeated actions that become unbreakable. And here's the truth, very few people want to hear. You're not lacking progress. You're lacking patience. The tree is growing, but you keep walking away before the shade appears. And when you finally learn to think long-term, when you stop chasing the quick win and start building the lasting one, you unlock a deeper truth about decision-making, the truth behind Buffett's next idea. It's better to be approximately right than precisely wrong. You want perfect answers, perfect clarity, perfect certainty, perfect guarantees before you move. But Buffett doesn't chase perfection, he chases direction. Because perfection is slow, and slow decisions are often the most dangerous ones. When Warren and his team study a business, They don't drown in spreadsheets. They don't chase every variable. They don't obsess over decimal places. They ask 3 simple questions. Do we understand the business model? Do we trust the people running it? Does it have a durable competitive advantage? If those answers are yes, they move. If the answers are unclear, they walk away. There's a story about a deal that came across Buffett's desk. The fundamentals were strong. The company was stable. The long-term prospects looked promising. But one analyst hesitated. He said he needed one more data point, one more report, one more quarter, one more layer of certainty before making a decision. Buffett closed the folder and said, "If we still need perfect data, we don't understand the business well enough to buy it." The deal was gone, and Buffett didn't regret it for a second. Here's what he knew. You don't win by being perfectly precise. You win by being directionally correct. Too many people delay their future because they're waiting for complete clarity. The kind of clarity that never arrives. They call it being careful, but it's really fear dressed up as logic. Here's the hard truth. Perfection is just procrastination in disguise. You want every detail to line up before you act. You want every risk to disappear. You want every unknown to vanish. But life doesn't work that way. Business doesn't work that way. Careers don't work that way. And neither does success. Most of your progress comes from moving when things are clear enough, not waiting until they're perfect. So what does this mean for you? In your career, stop obsessing over tiny details that don't change the direction of your future. Look at the bigger pattern, the trends, the trajectory. Decisions made with clarity beat decisions delayed for precision. In business, stop designing the perfect plan that will never survive contact with reality. Build the MVP, test it, iterate. The market rewards action, not theory. And, in your personal life, stop waiting for the perfect moment. Perfect moments are illusions. Take the step when the situation is clear enough, because clarity grows with movement. You don't need certainty, you need courage. Courage to move when others hesitate. Courage to decide without perfect data. Courage to trust your understanding instead of your fear. And when you develop that kind of courage, when you stop worshiping precision and start trusting direction, something powerful begins to happen. Certainty becomes easier. When your habits work for you, not against you. Habits are chains too light to be felt, until they are too heavy to be broken. You don't notice your habits, not at first, not when they're small, not when they feel harmless. You don't notice them, until they own you. Warren Buffett understood this early in life. Long before he was a billionaire, long before anyone knew his name, he built a habit that would define his entire destiny. He read 5 hours a day, every day. Books, annual reports, letters from businesses most people had never heard of. He wasn't just accumulating information, he was shaping his mind. He was building a competitive advantage that would never fade, and he often said something most people overlook. Good habits compound, just like money, but bad habits compound too. You skip reading today? No big deal. Skip it tomorrow? Still nothing noticeable. Skip it for a year, and suddenly your thinking is dull, your decisions are slower, your perspective is narrower, and you have no idea how you ended up so far behind. That's the hidden power of habits. They grow silently, quietly, patiently, until one day they solidify into chains. Chains you forged yourself. Here's the deeper truth. Your habits don't just influence your future, they predict it. Your routine is a map. Follow it long enough, and it shows you exactly where you'll end up. Here's the hard truth. Your future is hidden inside your daily routine, not in your goals, not in your dreams, not in your intentions. Your future is built in the tiny actions you repeat when no one is watching. So what does this mean for your life? Right now, in your career, discipline is worth more than motivation. Motivation comes and goes. Discipline stays. The people who rise aren't the most inspired. They're the most consistent. In business, habits become systems, and systems become results. Companies don't fall apart because of one big failure. They fall apart because of small, repeated cracks no one bothered to fix. And in your personal life, you don't need to overhaul everything. You don't need a dramatic transformation. You don't need to become someone completely different. You just need to build one new habit, one keystone behavior, one small action repeated for 90 days. A habit is a seed, and seeds don't grow when you dream about them. They grow when you water them, slowly, consistently, quietly. Here's the moment of truth. You don't need a new life. You need new habits. Because when your habits change, your identity changes, your momentum changes, your direction changes, and eventually, your entire trajectory changes with them.